Welcome to the first video bulletin of the 2014 NCAA baseball season. These bulletins are for coaches, players, administrators, and umpires, and reinforce NCAA rules, points of emphasis, and CCA umpire mechanics. I'm Tom Heiler, the Director of Umpire Training, and I'm happy to bring you this year's first video bulletin. Also assisting in the content of this bulletin is Jim Pirano, the NCAA Secretary Rules Editor, and each of our NCAA National Umpire Coordinators. Our first topic this week is in regards to the NCAA strike zone. As everyone should be aware, the NCAA made it a point of emphasis this year to get our umpires to raise the top of the zone and to ensure that our umpires are not going off the outside corner of the plate when calling strikes. Additionally, umpires were encouraged to look closer at pitches near the bottom of the knee to see if more of these pitches could be called a strike. I have to tell you, the NCAA Secretary Rules Editor and the NCAA Baseball Umpire Program has really received a lot of positive comments regarding the enormous strides that umpires have taken early in the season to try and achieve a more consistent overall strike zone, identify those pitches that are clearly not a strike, and have the umpires call the entire strike zone. Let's remember that these pitches that you are seeing are not to be called a strike by an NCAA umpire. These pitches at the top of the zone are to be called a strike by the umpire. One of the topics that was discussed at this year's NCAA National Umpire Clinics is the proper legal pitching position for the windup. For a windup position to be legal, the pitcher must stand with his shoulders square to home plate and may not have his free foot entirely in front of his pivot foot. In the clips that you are now seeing, these are not legal windup positions. Notice that the free foot is clear in front of the pivot foot, and at the beginning of the pitch, the shoulders are not square to home plate. Although an individual umpire may talk to a coach about this before enforcing a penalty, by rule, there is to be one warning for this violation, and any subsequent violations, a ball shall be called with no runners on base or a balk with runners on base. So far this season, there have been a couple of instances where institutions' ADs or conferences have tried to reduce the number of games an individual has been suspended for. This is a violation of the NCAA playing rules, and it's also a violation of the NCAA Sport Bylaw 17.29. Suspension penalties cannot be appealed by institutions or conferences, and suspension penalties cannot be altered by coordinators, institutions, or conferences. During this year's umpire clinics, some new four-man mechanics were discussed. I have received a few inquiries regarding a new mechanic that was put in for the season. This new mechanic is discussed in the front of your CCA manual on page 21 and 22. It was noted at the clinic that the diagram and mechanic listed on page 202 of your manual is incorrect, and that all shall follow the instructions on page 21 and 22. In situations in four-man mechanics, with runners on first and second, if U3 goes out on a fly ball and R1 and R2 tag up and advance, U1 can assume all plays at second on R1, and U2 will assume all plays at third on R2. The home plate umpire will stay home in four-man mechanics in this situation. Thank you for listening to the first video bulletin of the 2014 season. If you have any further questions or comments, please contact either Jim Pirano or myself at the email addresses listed. Thank you.